Tomorrow is Christmas, and the tradition that we have here at the Abbey is that we read through Shantideva's Guide to a Bodhisattva's Way of Life. And each time I read this text, this set of verses really inspires me and reminds me of our potential to transform our experience by working with our mind. Hence, the enemy, anger, creates suffering such as these. But whoever assiduously overcomes it finds happiness now and hereafter. Having found its fuel of mental unhappiness in the prevention of what I wish for and in the doing of what I do not want, hatred increases and then destroys me. Therefore, I should totally eradicate the fuel of this enemy, for this enemy has no other function than that of causing me harm. Whatever befalls me, I shall not disturb my mental joy. For having been made unhappy, I shall not accomplish what I wish, and my virtues will decline. Why be made unhappy about something if it can be remedied? And what is the use of being unhappy about something if it cannot be remedied? So I've been having an experience over the past week or so that, could maybe be described as being disturbed, being disrupted, really seeing this problem as like out there, someone is doing something to me, and this is irritating. But looking a bit more closely at it, I see the problem is in my own mind. I see that only I can create the causes for a bad rebirth by the way that I'm thinking, by the attitudes that I'm harboring. It's not anything that anyone else can do to me that is going to make me have poor rebirth or negative experiences or suffer. It is the way that I'm thinking about things in my mind. And so what I've been working with is this dear thing called sleep, which is kind of elusive for me in general, and has been especially so in this past week because there's been some different noises and things happening in close proximity to me at about 2:45, 3 o'clock in the morning, and I'm wide awake. It has woken me up so much more effectively than my alarm ever does. But I can apply antidotes. I can reframe the way that I see this situation. And I see that this works, when I can shift and open up my mind, I can create some space, and then the annoyance, frustration comes back, I apply antidotes, settle down, and, so it goes. I think that we know this kind of routine when working with afflictions. And the Chenrezig practice has been really beneficial because I think, what would Chenrezig do? How would Chenrezig respond to this situation? And I think that Chenrezig and also Venerable Chodron would encourage me to think about, who is it that's annoyed? Is it my body that's really being bothered by noise? I mean, isn't annoyance kind of this combination of afflictions, of anger and attachment and ignorance, of not seeing things really clearly? Who is it that is so annoyed? And so that helps, just kind of cut the stories, this line of thinking, when I can just really look at these thoughts and question what's there? What is it that is so annoyed? And then also, I think Chenrezig will remind me that this is impermanent. This situation isn't going to last forever. And it changes moment to moment. It's going to change over time. So there's no need to grasp onto it as this is never going to end and it's the most horrible thing and I am suffering and we're in silence and so I can't even tell anybody about my problems. Because that doesn't help. And I think that Chenrezig would also remind me that this is cyclic existence. So what do I expect? I am going to have things happen to me that I don't like. I'm going to be separated from things that I do like. I have a body that's really sensitive, or senses, whatever it is, sense factors, sense sources, all these things that I'm still learning about that are very sensitive when it comes to sleep. And so whose fault is that? It's definitely not the fault of the source of the noise. Um, and then I also question, like, would I even be asleep if there wasn't noise happening in the room? You know, it is this elusive thing for me around retreat. My sleep patterns get, a little bit more disturbed anyways, because we're doing more meditation than being actively engaged. And so I don't even know if I would be asleep regardless. So when I can open up my mind a bit and then see that actually I want everyone involved in the situation really to be happy and free from suffering, um, including the other person. This helps me maintain this feeling of connection, that it's not this like me versus you, my way or your way situation, but it's like, I want us all to be happy and free from suffering. And so keeping that connection is really more in line with reality, because we are all very interconnected. We all totally depend on each other all the time. And His Holiness encourages us to be wisely selfish, and thinking that when we are benefiting others, we are actually the ones that receive the most benefit. I see that in my own experience from this really meaningful feeling that arises when I'm helping others and can contribute to others. And so, yes, someone else has been helped, but there's also, a lot of satisfaction in my own mind and heart. And so applying this to this situation, when I can shift my mindset and not walk around so annoyed, telling myself I'm so tired, I can't do anything because I'm tired, and da 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 da. But when I can have a change and just have some acceptance for the situation, see that actually things are fine, I am more pleasant to be around and not as disgruntled and disagreeable. But really, I'm the one who receives the most benefit from having this more peaceful mind. Like, others benefit because I'm easier to be around, but really, this wisely selfish, I'm really benefiting myself the most when I am working with these afflictions. And seeing that the real disturbance and the real problem isn't the noise, but it is my anger and my irritation. And this is what causes me problems again and again. And so, actually, how wonderful that I've had the opportunity to work with this. Thank you. Because when my mind is calm and peaceful, this is when I can be of benefit to others. When my mind is running around crazy, I'm going to be much more inconsiderate of others and, not care so much. So getting the chance to just come back to, frustration over and over again is really beneficial. I get to know my own mind better. And I get to practice how Lama Zopa was sharing in Transforming Problems of like, where's the problem? There's no problem. It's just a problem because I'm calling it a problem. But actually, I can see this as an opportunity to work with my mind. In the Chenrezig practice, the part, what is it, the symbol, the part of Chenrezig's physical appearance, which is the most intriguing to me, is the antelope draped over his left shoulder. And this symbolizes that hatred is overcome completely by peaceful, compassionate wisdom. And so I'm curious about who this antelope was, and I'm really glad that it's made of light. Otherwise, Chenrezig would stink. But in cultivating a compassionate heart, the yoga method of Chenrezig that Venerable Chodron wrote, it says that this antelope is reminiscent of a story about an antelope that gave its life to prevent two hunters from harming each other. The hunters were sneaky. Knowing that the antelope was compassionate, they pretended to fight so that it would try to stop them. When the antelope did just that, the hunters snagged it. And the idea behind the story is that the animal was so compassionate that it risked its life to prevent others from quarreling. And so it just makes me think that this antelope was quite special, that it could see this continuation, that the ending of this life, like giving its life to the hunters, wasn't going to be the end of things. It wasn't this sacrifice, but it was actually, this kind act to get them to stop fighting right now. But I have this thought that the antelope must have had this confidence in karma and rebirth, to just be able to, give itself so freely and to have that connection with Chenrezig. And it reminded me of this verse that we recite in the 37 Practices of Bodhisattvas: when those who want awakening must give even their body, there's no need to mention external things. Therefore, without hope for return or any fruition, give generously. This is the practice of Bodhisattvas. And so thinking about this quality of generosity, coming back to working with the afflictions, like being generous and wanting to give a kind heart, wanting to be able to actually benefit others. And the only way I can do that is by showing up with some tranquility and balance in my own mind, is how I am able to give. Another part of Chenrezig that is very inspiring to me is the visual of Chenrezig's arms wide open. And I think of this as Chenrezig being open to embrace whatever is happening with this fearlessness and with an open heart. And so to embrace whatever's happening, to have acceptance, to be free from worry and anxiety, of, looking at this like, okay, it's 2:40 in the morning and something just fell on the floor. Instead of, that frustration, like, just, okay, here's my situation. Like, I don't need to worry about whether I can function, but how can I just embrace this and accept it and have that arms wide open approach, knowing that it's not the end of the world. I can take a nap after lunch if I'm tired. It'll be fine. and then seeing the benefits. With this, if I can cultivate this arms of acceptance like Chenrezig, then I can see the benefits of the situation. Like, wow, I have more time for study and for prostrations. And I can just get this little glimpse of like what it might be like to not have to sleep, because that would be nice. But sleep is an actual physiological need. So, and we also have a lot of friends coming over the next week. So I will, come back and reassess this in the not too distant future. But knowing things are impermanent, it's, to not get stuck in this, like, this is just how it's going to be and there's nothing I can do about it. Of like, let's just take it as it comes and try and have a happy mind. And so we can all be inspired by Chenrezig and this compassionate heart that just really wants to reach out to others and wants others to be happy and free from suffering. And for that to happen, we need to work on our own stuff. And that we receive the most benefit when we work on our own stuff. And when we are looking at others with a kind heart and with acceptance and understanding, this is what's going to allow our bodhicitta to grow. And so, I just continue to be inspired by Chenrezig and appreciate the support and opening up my mindset and seeing that there is no problem. There's this old way of thinking that sees problems, but there's also this really empowering potential to shift that and really see it as an opportunity to work with my mind and develop fortitude. So I'm glad we can all do that together.